Morning, everybody, and welcome to our ordinary council meeting for the 19th of July 2023. I'd like to welcome all the councillors and Councillor Shoemaker attending online, and also anybody that is watching the live stream of the meeting today. So welcome, and hopefully we can move through the agenda quickly and have a good, positive meeting. Leave of absence. I believe that we have a leave of absence for the Mayor. I'd like to move that we accept that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Duff. All those in favour? Unanimous. Any other leave of absence? I don't believe. I think we're all good to go. No apologies. I'd like to call now Pastor Chris to the front to deliver some prayers for us today. Thanks, Pastor.
Thank you for the privilege of being able to bring your deliberations and your things before God in prayer. I absolutely, utterly believe that all of you here are here for good. You're trying to do good. I also highly suspect that you don't always agree exactly on what that good is and how it's best put out. So I would like to pray for wisdom for you in finding the good in 5 areas. The good, whether it's good for who, you or somebody else, or the good for the greater, is always a difficult decision. The good for the when. Is it good for now at the cost of later, or later at the cost of now? How do you balance those things? The good of who gets the credit. I found a quote once: a lot more could get done if nobody cared who got the credit. The good of cost involved. Some things may be a good thing, but their cost is more than the value of what good comes out of it. These are decisions you're faced with all the time. And the good of balancing rules with the situation. When we think most rules were put there for a good reason, but sometimes that rule becomes difficult to make something good, and decisions have to be made. That how do we look for the good and use the rules to get good rather than to block good? So I'd like to pray for wisdom for each of those areas. Almighty God, you who created the universe, know all things and know you are a good God and want good. You know the hearts of each person. You know the people here do want good. But you also know, as we do, that's hard to find sometimes. So I pray particularly for your wisdom for each member in this council as they deliberate and as on each issue that comes up, that you will help guide the deliberations of this council towards the good. That is of the best possible good for each individual, the council itself, the community, and the individuals within the community. That those things be balanced in the best possible way. Lord, we just pray for the deliberations to consider what is good for now, but also good in the future, and how they can be balanced. We need your wisdom. We pray for the seeking of good when it comes to who gets the credit. Lord, that each person be thinking, is this good? Not whether I get the credit or that person gets the credit, and to look past the fact that sometimes someone else upsets us and we don't want to let them have credit for something good. But Lord, if it's good, help us to see that. Lord, we just also bring before you the idea of the cost of things, which is all over the place and hard to think, but finding the balance of the good between the cost. May there be wisdom for each member as they consider those things. And Lord, in an age where the number of rules has grown, and sometimes there's situations where rules conflict with each other, and where there's good things that could be happening, but a rule gets in the way or is hard. We pray that you'll guide people to not neglect and do illegal things, but to submit the rule to the good, to look for how we can do good things rather than just look at the rules first. So, Father, I just humbly ask that you give wisdom to each councillor and each person involved in advising councillors as to how to do good in our community. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all again.
Thanks, Pastor. Words certainly worth listening to as we progress through the rest of the agenda. So thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to the recognition of the traditional owners, and as usual, go to Councillor Duff to perform that. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge country and the land where we meet this morning, the Wak Waka land, and acknowledge the elders both past, present and emerging. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Declarations of interest, councillors, any declarations? No, all good to go. Righto, that's great. Deputations and petitions, we have none of, so we now move on to agenda item number 7, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. And I'd like to move that those minutes be accepted. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Erkins. Any questions before we go to the vote regarding the minutes? If not, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Now move on to 8.1, notice of motion, allocation of work for Queensland Round 4 funding. You'll find that on page 40. And the motion is request to allocate $10,000 of works for Queensland Round 4 funding from Tipperary Flats rehabilitation of rest area to Blackbutt Rail Trail to plant an avenue of 66 trees. Now, I brought that forward. I've been approached by the community down there, knowing that we had a little bit of money up our sleeve at Tipperary Flats with the works done there. I spoke to Councillor Erkins in regards to that and some of the staff members. On the Blackbutt Rail Trail, as you're coming in from Banarkin towards Blackbutt, near the showgrounds up to where the Roy Emerson Museum is, the proposal is to plant 66 trees, 33 on each side, make an avenue of trees coming in there, and we've spoken along with the staff the day that we went down and went down the rail trail from Blackbutt to Linville with the main roads, and they're fully supportive of this at the moment, but we just have to get approval for the funding and all that so that we can then go to TMR to get written approval for that. So basically, councillors, I'm asking for $10,000 of money to be transferred from Tipperary Flats to the Blackbutt Banarkin. There's so many different communities down there. So anyway, they're going to take charge of that. We give them the $10,000, we work with them, and they certainly invoice us and keep up to date with all the spending. So that's basically it. Is there any questions or comments around? Councillor, you'll second it? Okay, so any other questions, comments, councillors before? Councillor Shoemaker, all good? So basically the community groups down there have come together. I've had meetings with them and they're going to take charge of the whole project, I'll work with them and we'll get the holes dug, plant the trees, and being an elderly group, they'll take a little bit of time to work through it, and hopefully we'll have the trees and the avenue finished by the end of October. That's the plan. So if there's no other questions, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much for your support. 8.2, notice of motion. Again, another one of mine. The motion is that when the Mayor or the Deputy Mayor are unable to attend an official council activity or function, that the relevant divisional councillor be delegated to act on behalf of the Mayor, that where there is a formal deputation of council, the Mayor, Deputy Mayor or relevant portfolio or divisional council is invited to attend. Now, just a little bit of background on that. If you all remember, the Mayor sent out, we had discussions around this a long time ago, when the Mayor sent out an email to us all with his intentions of what he would think was a good thing. But up until now, it's never been put in as a policy or anything like that. So I just thought that it's a prevalent time to have this conversation and put something in place. I think that it's only fair that if the Mayor is not attending, it goes then to the Deputy. If it's the Deputy and the Mayor aren't available, it should go to the Divisional Councillor and go down. If the Divisional Council's unattended, I think it should go to an elected representative of Council. And if we're all unavailable, it then should possibly go down to the CEO as a representative of the Council. So interested for any conversation or comments around that, Councillor Duff?
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. I think it's a really good, motion, and I'm happy to support it. I can't see any problems with it. I think that's just, it should be a given. So surprised it's not already in our policy. So yeah, 100% supportive.
So just before that, to open up conversation, I guess I better move that notice of motion is, the motion is that where the mayor or deputy mayor are unable to attend an official council activity or function, that the relevant divisional council be delegated to act on behalf of the mayor, and two, that where there is a formal deputation of council, the mayor, deputy mayor, or relevant portfolio or divisional councillor is invited to attend. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Potter. Okay, comments before we go to the vote? Councillor Potter.
Yeah, thank you. I actually thought we had discussed this a while ago, probably through you, Chair, to the CEO. I thought there was something already in play with regards to this that we were following, because I thought we did something back when in 2016. I thought there was something put through, because we've had this discussion before. Might have been
through you, Chair. 2016 is before my time. I'm sorry. So 18, I came along. The portfolio division, it references in there, but it's not as clear. There is references in the Act for it. It is, I agree totally with Councillor Duff, it is standard practice normally. When the council, it's the same as appointing under the Act a chair. If the mayor, deputy mayor is not available, it's by resolution to appoint one of their own. The councils appoint one of their own. The Act talks about acting mayor if the mayor, deputy mayor, that it's by resolution normally. I think it's geared more to longer term gaps, but yeah, it's been talked about a lot, and it's generally why we practice, but there's nothing that I know of anyway off the top of my head that's sitting as clear as this in any policy.
Yeah, thanks, CEO. And Councillor Potter referenced 2016. There was conversations around the media side of things, not so much as a representative of council, but the media was addressed back in the last term. And so, Mr. CEO, just to confirm that this will be written pretty clearly, that any official functions and that sort of stuff, the mayor, deputy mayor, down, and it will be quite clear. Yeah, thank you. Okay, any more? Oh, sorry, Councillor Shoemaker, not watching. Thank you. Good on you. You.
Thank you. No worries. Sorry, team, that I'm at home today. I've got a little girl with tonsillitis, so my apologies. I'm not there in person. I just had a suggestion for the motion. I'd just like to see, I think it's common courtesy, and I think it's important that we all, if you are the representative of council, that you pass on the apologies of the other councillors who are unable to attend. And I'd just like to see that actually defined in policy. And my other question is just that if, I just want to confirm, so rather than the mayor deciding who attends, or how does this actually get enacted? Because, you know, last year there was an award ceremony in my division that the mayor was unable to attend, and Councillor Duff attended that ceremony, and I wasn't actually invited to attend, although it was in my division. So I just wondered, in terms of practice, how does this actually work in practice? Is it the role of the executive services team to contact us?
Okay, thanks, Councillor. If through the chair, I'll have a go at that one. With the way that's written and following, again, what I would think is fairly reasonable or normal, I should actually know a better word, a practice in this space would be mayor's unable to attend. So this is adopted formally. Mayor's unable to attend. First put of call for executive would be for any of the bookings office of the mayor would be the deputy mayor. If deputy mayor is unavailable to attend, well then we'd go to the divisional or portfolio councillor, depending on which one of those two items it was. There was, and we had to have in the past too as well, and I don't know if it's dropped off a little bit through other circumstance lately, but we can, is just CC all the other councillors into the email so that they know what's going on. If they choose to read it, that's fine. If they aren't, or not worried about it, that's fine too. Where there may be the exception to the process would be if there is a specific reason why a specific councillor should be invited, well, then that would have to be gauged through consultation with the elected body. Same as what we did for yesterday's proxy. Well, to my mind, that's how it works, is you just, when you get everyone together or by flying minute email, you just say, okay, there's this event, this is this, there's been a recommendation that we put this person forward because of X, Y, Z. Does everyone support it?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Very supportive of the motion. I think it's common courtesy, but I'm not sure it's always enacted that the representative of council should pass on the apologies of those who were unable to make it.
Yeah, that's fair comment, councillor. As Councillor Duff said right off the bat, this should be a given, and it's common courtesy that I don't think there'd be another councillor that doesn't operate under that agreement or understanding that it should just go down the line, mayor, deputy mayor, divisional councillor, and so on. So I don't have any issues if you want to add in point 3, where with your help, Mr. CEO, on wording there, that the divisional council or all councillors be notified, and I think we do get that now, don't we? We currently get an email sent to us, but I don't know that. Sorry. Oh, that's for the apologies.
Apologies.
Yeah.
So point 3 would be, Tiana, would be just the council representing a council or representative attending an official event pass on the apologies for the other councillors.
Yeah. So basically, my intent, Councillor Shoemaker, was the fact that when council needs to be represented, it should be an elected member at the very least. So that's my line of thinking. That's where that came from. It was just following up and finishing off what the mayor, if you go back, it's quite a while ago when we had this discussion, and the mayor did send out an email with his suggestions and whatnot. And this is just following on and just trying to get it in black and white quite clearly that if there's any official functions, it should be mayor, deputy mayor, divisional councillor first option, and then after that have a consensus from the group. That's my intention of this motion. So you need to have a conversation, Councillor Shoemaker. Back to you.
I was just going to say fully supportive of the motion and think it's very important that it is clear and in black and white. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Councillor Erkins.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I just wondered, sometimes also I have noticed that some people, and it's probably not for the motion, but just it's a comment, some people who send in invitations are sometimes not aware that they invite, say, a portfolio holder and leave out a divisional councillor, or invite a divisional and leave out a what's name. I just wondered whether we could have some protocol that people who are asking who should they invite actually, because sometimes they don't know who their divisional, say for a club, for example, if you have president of a club, he lives in one division, the club operates from another division, they don't actually know who their divisional councillors are for that thing. So I just didn't know whether, I don't think it's worthy to go into the motion, but perhaps we can have some type of suggestions for people that are looking for who they should invite.
Yeah, in response to that, councillor, there was conversation probably before you came into council that myself and Councillor Duff had a misunderstanding up in her division. Anyway, won't go into detail, but we had that conversation and we all agreed that it was just common courtesy that if you're going, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but if you're going somewhere else, it's just common courtesy to say, look, Councillor Jones, you're the roads portfolio, I've got an issue, do you want to come for a drive with me? It's just a phone call. I think that's what we all agreed on to progress, so leave it at that. So, okay, any more comments around this one? Otherwise, we'll go to the vote. Do you agree, Councillor Potter, with the add of number 3 there, .3? Okay, we'll go to the the motion, and the motion is point 1, that where the mayor or deputy mayor are unable to attend an official activity or function, that the relevant divisional councillor be delegated to act on behalf of the mayor. 2, that where there is a formal deputation of council, the mayor, deputy mayor or relevant portfolio or divisional councillor is invited to attend. That should be councillor, I think, divisional councillor on dot 2 instead of council. Yep, just. And dot 3, the councillor representing official event pass on apologies for other councillors. Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 9.1, business outstanding. And the business outstanding table for the ordinary council meeting be received for information. Do we have a second? I'll move that. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Duff, questions and comments, councillors, around that? You'll find all that on page 42. All good by the looks of it? Councillor Duff, yep.
Sorry, one question. Just on page, it's 68 and 60 and 69. It just says that it's actually page 70, sorry, that the mayor and all councillors be invited to attend pre-lodgement meetings, and then a motion got foreshadowed that the mayor and all councillors receive an email providing a summary on what pre-lodgement meetings have taken place during the week and a reasonable update on such. Is that being enacted? Just wanted to check with that one.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, certainly I'm catching up with our Coordinator of Development Services tomorrow just in relation to that, and because there's a policy that supports that, which is still going through the governance framework. So we'll have a look at that one and get that policy back to council for further consideration. But yeah, certainly more than happy to provide those weekly updates as those pre-lodgement meetings do occur.
Thank you.
Councillor Erkins.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Chairman. The resolution about the mowers. What actually ended up happening? I know some weren't able to be donated. So, are any of those going to be donated, or are we still going to be keeping them ourselves? It's on page 59.
GM Jarvis was quick to turn on the light. I'm sure she's got a response.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor. Yes, I was prepared for this question. I did a bit of research on it. The 3 mowers are actually ready for distribution, and there was a resolution or agreement, I'm not sure whether it was a resolution by council, that they be administered through the Community Grants Program. So in acting Darryl's defence at the moment, he probably hasn't got his feet under the table yet. So they're sitting there, unless you can add any other value to that. They're sitting there for distribution to the community.
I just
they're
wasn't
ready
sure
to
whether
go.
we still had any that were going. Thanks, I'm happy with that. On Goodger School, I heard some talk that Stanwell were interested in doing something with that. I just know that's on 63. I don't know if anyone's aware.
I can. Yeah, I'll talk to Leanne.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I do believe I did see in recent times, and Leanne's moving to the table, may have more information, but I do believe there's been an approach from the Goodger family regarding funds to upgrade the building before it falls into a state of total disrepair. So I'm not too sure if Leanne's across that one at all.
I sent an email yesterday. I think it wasn't.
Councillor Potter.
Yeah, thank you. I can probably add to this. So I had a phone call from Rob Fitzherbert, and also he's working with Anthony Goodger, and they actually want to work on the school and put some grants in. And I've sent an email through, and I'm sorry I did not tag Leanne on that. So I will have to go and forward that email to Manager Peterson with regards to that one, but they actually have got a quote to do the repairs on Goodger School, and it's just these guys that are trying to get quotes. And in my email, I did mention that they would actually ask council to help them maybe source some grants and help write some grants with regards to getting that school back up, because it's one of the last sort of monuments for the Goodger area, and it works in really nicely with the with what we have with the wetlands there and our boardwalk and things like that. So that's what they would like to do. But that's all I can sort of discuss, because that's all we know so far.
That's great news. Also, see, I read through everything. The youth council were going to look at the youth engagement centre. Have we got any further with that? Sorry, page 74.
Is that the conversation, councillor, around moving into the office where the KTP was? There was talk
No, I
of
don't
it.
think so. It was just that South Bennett Regional Council engages with our youth council and interested community members to form a working group with a view to establish a youth. I just didn't know whether we had gone any further with that or at this stage.
So, through you, Deputy Mayor, I can actually answer that. So what happened was that Kyla Mill came and presented to council and wanted to get a room in that the building across the road, and then we decided to, instead of doing that, to form a working group. That was where that came from.
So, councillor Duff, do you know if that's progressed? Have we got a working group, or is there still nothing happened there?
I don't think anything's happened in that space. Do you know Councillor Potter?
No, I don't. There's nothing in that space at all.
We might take that one on notice, councillor, and see
Yep.
what we can find out.
Thank you. Not going to go any further.
Manager Peterson, do you have any further update, or do you want to make any comment around the Goodger School, or just leave it as discussed so far? Good to go. Okay, thank you. Yeah, there was just on that Goodger School, there was somebody that approached me, wanted to buy the school and move it onto their own property, and we'd done some investigating and all that sort of stuff, and that's how it all came about with the group of people, and not too many people still alive, and yeah, so it's a bit of an issue. So it's an ongoing work, and if Rob and the crew can get together and re-establish that, good luck to them. Okay, so any more comments? Councillor Shoemaker, you're good on the minutes? No comments in. Okay, if everyone's happy, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. We'll now move on to item 10.1, and the officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council approves the Chief Executive Officer leave from the 24th of July 2023 to the 28th of July 2023, inclusive with a return to work date of the 31st of July 2023, and appoints the General Manager of Infrastructure as Acting Chief Executive Officer. Do we have a mover? Thanks, Councillor Potter. Seconder, Councillor Erkins. Comments, discussions? I think it's straightforward. I think it's just a normal process here. So if not, we'll go straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.2, delegations to the Chief Executive Officer under the Planning and Environment Court Act 2016, and the officer's recommendation that pursuant to section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009, South Burnett Regional Council, 1, delegate the exercise of the powers contained in Schedule 1 of the Instrument of Delegation Planning and Environment Court Act 2016 to the Chief Executive Officer. These powers must be exercised subject to any limitations contained in Schedule 2 of the Instrument of Delegation. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, seconder. Councillor Duff, comments? Again, I think straightforward. If not, we'll go straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.3, adoption of the South Burnett Regional Council electronic signatures policy, Strategic 035. Officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council Electronic Signatures Policy Strategic 035 be adopted as presented. So you've got it presented there. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkin, second to Councillor Potter. Comments, questions, councillors? Again, another straightforward process. If not, straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.4. Adoption of the South Burnett Regional Council Gifts and Benefits Policy Strategic 002. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council Gifts and Benefits Policy Strategic 002 be adopted as presented. Again, presented as in front in your agenda. Do we have a mover? Councillor Shoemaker, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Oh, comments, questions? All those in favour? We'll go to the vote. Unanimous. Thank you. 10.5. Adoption of the South Burnett Regional Council Information Management Record Keeping Policy Statutory 039. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council Information Management Record Keeping Policy Statutory 039 be adopted as presented, again as in the agenda. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Duff. Questions, comments? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.6. Adoption of the South Burnett Regional Council Corporate Risk and Audit Advisory Committee Policy, Statutory 022. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council Corporate Risk and Audit Advisory Committee Policy, Statutory 022, be adopted as presented. And again, in your agenda, do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Erkins. Comments, questions? Straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. 10.7. Notice to repeal South Burnett Regional Council Trading on Local Government Controlled Areas, Facilities and Roads Policy, Statutory 023. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council Trading on Local Government Controlled Areas, Facilities and Roads Policy, Statutory 023 be repealed. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Henson. It's presented in your agenda, councillors. Is there any questions or comments regarding that? Again, a straightforward process. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. 10.8, LGAQ 126th Annual Conference, motion request. And here we go. The officer's recommendation is that the South Burnett Regional Council resolves to submit the following motions to the 23 Local Government Association of Queensland Annual Conference. There is 1 to 10 there as presented. Does anyone require me to read them out? I think we had discussions earlier in the week and confirmed these, so I think we're all across these. And I think it's very common ground from all councillors that we as a South Burnett Regional Council fully support taking this to the LGAQ conference. So with that, do I have a mover? Councillor Duff. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Henson. Quick comments or anything, councillors, before we go to the vote? Councillor Shoemaker, yes?
Just Chair, yeah, I'm just checking these are the reverted versions that were discussed on Monday on the screen, but yep.
Yeah, I believe so. They're updated versions of and took your feedback into consideration as well, Councillor, yeah.
Yep, and if I may,
yep.
Chair. And what we then tried to do was where we had the subject A and B is write them, start to put them into the LGAQ format as far as so rather than having topic A, B, just fold it all together into a. They'll still need a little bit of work when they get submitted that the LGAQ calls on in a couple of them and bits, but yeah, so
Yeah.
that come out of
No, thank
Monday's
you.
workshop.
Just confirming. Thank you.
Councillor Duff?
Sorry, just clarification, just on that one, that the state government changed the legislation back to what it was before 1992, so that water is deemed as essential service. That point K was just the footnote to go with that motion. It wasn't a separate motion. Just J, the K one was just currently, that was just an explanation as to the J, where it says currently it's full cost recovery under the Environmental Protection Act. So J and K, J is the motion and K was just the explanation, just the the note to it. It wasn't a separate motion. Yep, that was just this clarification.
Yep, yeah, no, just looking is, because we probably changed them around a little bit as far as the numbering. So that would be 0.3. That would be, okay, currently full cost charging essential service. No, that's currently a full cost recovery, Environmental Protection Act, and other legislation. Yeah, sorry. Oh, that it's 0.10, Councillor Duff, then is where we've moved that one to. Currently is at full cost recovery, environmental protection, changing it to essential service. So if we can we can fold number 2 into 10.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yep,
That's
okay.
how that's just the,
So if you've no objection, what we'll do is, so I don't lose it, because as I said, some of these will just need tidying them up as we put into the, if you just cut that one, cut and paste, drop it onto number 10, but just put it in brackets after 10, please. Yeah, that's him, beautiful. And then get rid of 2. Thank you. Yep, so we're 9. We'll just need to renumber them as well. No worries. Thanks, Councillor.
no worries, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Shoemaker, yep.
Thank you, Chair. Just point 2, that the state government makes an agreement through the National Cabinet to allow the federal government to build water infrastructure. It should be in the nation's interests. And I just had a suggestion for another motion, which I know we've got a lot of motions here, but just under point 8, that just for consideration by the team, if I can get it on the screen and have a look at it. That the state, that the LGAQ, that LGAQ just a new motion under point 8. Thanks, T. Sorry, that the LGAQ calls on the state government to require solar farm proponents project proponents to enter into make good agreements with their immediate neighbours, neighbouring properties, prior to submitting to the submission of a development application to council. Probably something I just wanted to check with Manager Brooks or the CEO. I just think in our recent experiences, if a solar farm project proponent comes forward, it should be in some form of legislation prior to council even receiving a development application that the developer must engage with those neighbours, and if there is a reasonable impact on their property values or alike, that they should be appropriately compensated through a make good agreement. And I know under our current planning legislation we can't really dictate that, but under our planning scheme, but I think it is something that maybe we should call on the state government to consider, particularly where neighbours, and I cite the Kingaroy Solar Farm, have been impacted directly, their property values and the like have been impacted by the development, and there's been no actual conversation about appropriate compensation for such.
Yeah, we'll go to Councillor Henson quickly, Councillor Shoemaker, and then we'll go to Councillor Brooks if he's got any comments, or the CEO.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, fully supportive of Councillor Shoemaker. But I'll bring to the attention of Chambers that I don't think we single out solar farms. I think renewables would possibly be better. But the first thing that we will come, or they will come back to us, is good old Code 23, which states in that with buffer zones, they don't have to. So we've got to change that code or try and get that code, in my opinion, and appreciate I am a neighbouring property to some of these renewables, so I'm experiencing firsthand some of the rules and regulations. So I think, as much as I support that, Councillor Shoemaker, I think the Code 23, or certainly that will be what we come up against, because at the moment there's no obligation for them to talk to, in my circumstance, me, because I'm outside of a particular buffer zone that's in that regulation Code 23. So fully supportive of it, but I guess to be aware that that's what will get thrown back in our face, I believe, straight away. So how we deal with that, whether that can be an individual council thing with that, I'm not sure. Because certainly in other circumstances, that won't apply in perhaps some neighbouring or northern councils where buffer zones won't come into it, where we're populated, and buffer zones at the moment stand around that 1.6 kilometre mark. So that's part of that regulation. So yeah, fully supportive of it in some shape or form, but I'm just noting that that's what we'll be dealing with.
So just before we go to Councillor Shoemaker, so you mentioned Code 23, Councillor Henson. General Manager Meehan or CEO or Manager Brooks, is there, who controls the workings behind Code 23 that Councillor Henson's alluded to? It's a question on notice. I know it's, so Darryl?
Yeah, I'll have a first dibs. So yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, so that's developed by the state, that code. So it sort of addresses all the elements of, proposed solar farms, and, it provides all the warm and fuzzy stuff. But being a code, there's no real enforcement opportunity. It's more of a guideline. So I think what Councillor Shoemaker is proposing is, putting a bit more teeth around making these proponents, more responsible and aware of their obligations, especially to their near neighbours. And certainly once we populate the template for the motion, all that detail will be fleshed out. So so we can address a lot of the examples that we're experiencing through that motion template.
Thanks, Manager. So I'll go back now to both Councillor Shoemaker and Councillor Henson, and hearing that, is it worth mentioning Code 23 in there and bring it to the attention? Or I'll leave it up to you, Councillor Shoemaker, Councillor Henson, floor is yours. Have a conversation. Yes. Yep.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to note, so the reason why I've included solar farm project proponents is because council actually under our planning scheme assesses those applications. We don't assess under the SARA planning authority, which is the 0.7 that I've drafted above. SARA and the state government actually approves wind projects. So I wonder if we shouldn't put something in 0.7. What I'm talking to in 0.8 is allowing us as a council to say, and every other local government in Queensland to say, yes, we'll assess your development application once you can demonstrate that you've had conversations with your immediate neighbours and entered into appropriate make good agreements with them. But with 0.7, I'm trying to say, under the SARA planning authority, council really gets very little opportunity to provide feedback on a renewable energy project. And 0.7 directly talks to Wombo Wind Farm, where it's on the very edge of our region. Every truck, there's 10 trucks to a wind tower, every most of those 10 trucks or construction gravel trucks will come through our region, yet there was no conversation with the South Burnett about an appropriate road infrastructure agreement prior to the sod turning. I'm so disappointed that we weren't even actually counted as a key stakeholder, to the point where we weren't even invited to the official opening of the official sod turning of the Wonbo wind farm, which is directly on the border of the South Burnett and Western Downs. So I was trying to point out that I think it's very poor form that if these projects aren't necessarily in our region, but there will be impact in our region from those trucks on the road, that there's a mechanism or a trigger or something in place that says you must have agreement with the impacted neighbouring council prior to commencing the construction of the project. So I don't know with the wind farm. I know we've written further motions before that spoke to Code 23 and trying to get that more in terms of regulation. And I'm probably looking at, the CEO, whether we could put something in there that says that, Code 23 is, there's more actual legislation backing it, or something that pulls people to account, because at the moment, once the state government stamps it, there's really little that councils can do to change or support or be involved in those projects.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor. Councillor Henson, and then we'll go to Councillor Erkins and then CEO if you've got any comments.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm thought I read somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we do an enormous amount of reading, and most of it's not novels what we want to read. But, Mr. CEO, have I seen, or am I led to believe that at the LGAQ conference there is a motion being tabled in relation to Code 23? Are you aware of that motion? Or Councillor Shoemaker can direct that question at any of my colleagues that have read anything. And again, part of this LGAQ conference, and for the public out there listening, these are the important things that we take and we listen and we try and put across at these conferences. And this is a seriously important one. You've heard me bang on about Code 23 for a long time. And it's as good as a wet paper bag, in my opinion. But, yeah, I think... and Councillor Shoemaker, you're right, on our western boundary, to not be involved as stakeholders in that is fairly ordinary communication skills between councils. But Councillor Shoemaker, for those that are unaware, we traversed over there only some 10 days ago, and I'd encourage people to go and have a look what's happening on our doorstep, because there's going to be more of it happen within our own region. So, yeah, the Code 23, I thought I saw a motion that's been taken to the LGAQ conference in relation to reviewing it. I'm not sure if anyone can shed any light on that, but hopefully it is. And if not, certainly would love to see Code 23 mentioned in one of our .7 or 8 there. Councillor Shoemaker?
Yeah, I think just before we go to Councillor Erkins, I think if we go to the LGAQ, our delegates can certainly make mention of Code 23 if there's nothing. And that's right. So we can certainly, we've got an opportunity as our delegates go up to Gladstone this year to certainly drive home the Code 23. Councillor Erkins.
Thank you. I'd just like to just ask, the immediate neighbouring properties, should that be, should that be impacted? Because, they're not necessarily just immediate ones, it's impacted properties, and some of those people also, the impact is also with the construction, and that's the same with the wind farm. It's during that construction period as well that there is a great deal of impact on community, and then afterwards it's the living with the solar farm right next door. So I just thought impacted rather than just immediate. Thank you.
Happy with that change, Councillor Shoemaker?
Yes, supportive of that change. Certainly, I think just have to be careful because the view of who is impacted and how they're impacted, I think sometimes can be open to interpretation. And I think we've seen that in the relationship some of our existing solar farm project proponents hold with their neighbours. So
The CEO has just added the word "and" in between immediate and impacted
yeah,
neighbours.
perfect.
I think that would differentiate between, I think. So, yeah. So wrapping this up, Councillor Henson, any final comments? And we'll go to the vote.
Just a quick comment, and for the council, you've heard me make mention of it before, and for the public out there that may be listening, I do not derive any income or any monetary gain from what's happening in this renewable space at this present time. There are conversations and commentary around there that could possibly happen, and until that happens, I'm happy to stand here in this chamber and talk on these subjects. But be noted that I will be having to declare a conflict of interest at some stage later down the track because of the conversations being had in that space. Thank you.
Thanks, councillor. Okay, we've got the recommendation there, moved by councillor Duff, seconded by councillor Henson, that the South Burnett Regional Council resolves to submit the following motions to the 2023 Local Government Association of Queensland's annual conference, listed 1 to 10. We've come through with those 10 to go with good conversation. Any more comments? I don't believe we need to. We'll go straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. We'll go with knowing that we've got to close down at 10 o'clock for citizenship ceremony, so we'll slip another couple in, see if we can get through. The monthly financial information is at 10.9, climate adaptation strategy. The officer's recommendation that the report be received for information. It's a report only. It was all there in your agenda, as everyone said. They've all been reading conscientiously, so that's good. So do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, seconder. Councillor Potter, comments? If not, we'll go straight to the vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.10, monthly financial information. The officer's recommendation that the preliminary monthly financial report, including capital works and works for Queensland, as at the 30th of June 2023, be received and noted. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconder. Councillor Henson, comments, questions? It's there for you to read. If not, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.11, Annual Operational Plan 22-23, Implementation Progress Report for the period ending 30th of June 2023. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council Annual Operational Plan 22-23 Plan Implementation Progress Report for the period of 1st of July 22 to the 30th of June 23 be adopted as presented. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, seconder. Councillor Erkins, questions, comments? Straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, 10.12, Local Government Remuneration Commission Council Category Review. Gee, that's a mouthful. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council delegate the Chief Executive Officer to make a submission to the Queensland Local Government Remuneration Commission. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, seconded Councillor Potter. Comments or questions? Straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Now, we may take an early break because the Nango CBD parking and operations at 11.1 and the Wandai Streetscape, I dare say, might have a bit of conversation. So do we have a mover that we have break now and move into the citizenship ceremonies? Councillor, I move that. Councillor Henson, second that.
Before we do
Oh, sorry, Councillor Henson.
just on a light note, Deputy Mayor, and to all our staff and managers, and certainly in the chambers here, I had a wonderful phone call yesterday, and we don't get too many compliments from people, let me assure you. I had a wonderful phone call yesterday from a gentleman by the name and a father of Mr. Peter Howlett, where his son, and I'll just make note, Stuart Howlett, the council awarded him $1,000 for the ability to be able to go to Joey's Mini World Cup being held in Germany, which he's at the moment as we speak. So I'd just like to pass, or Mr. Howlett asks to pass on his thank you very much to all involved in that and the council for the $1,000 that we support, and for the public out there that someone represents our country. Council supports them to the tune of $1,000, and if it's a state thing, to the tune of $500. So that family is seriously appreciated for that $1,000, and certainly wish Joey in the Mini World Cup over in Germany all the very best. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Henson. Councillor Shoemaker, I'll come to you shortly, but the CEO has just informed me that our citizenship ceremony people are running late. I know that you have a other appointment at 10 o'clock, Councillor Shoemaker, so do we, you want to move that? Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy for you to continue without me, Councillor Jones. But yes, I do have to take my daughter to the doctor, and I'll be back in the meeting as soon as I get back.
Thanks very much, Councillor Shoemaker. So, Mr. CEO, that we don't have to move anything. Just let it go. Thanks, Councillor Shoemaker. Good luck with the daughter, and we'll see you as soon as we can. All right, Council, we'll keep moving forward until we get the word there now. At 11.1, the Nanango CBD parking and operations. The South Burnett, or the officer's recommendation is that the South Burnett Regional Council undertakes public consultation regarding introducing parking regulation and restriction within the Nanango CBD. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins. Seconder, Councillor Potter. Councillor Erkins, do you want to add anything to this, or are you happy for it to go to the vote? Up to you.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, Deputy Mayor. I've had quite a few people have made mention of the fact that, you know, it's sometimes difficult to get a park in Nanango. One of the reasons they feel is that a lot of the business people tend to park in front of their office and they're there all day. So I really do think that we need to take it to the community, get their feedback. So I'm very supportive of the motion.
Okay, Councillor Duff.
Yeah, I'm supportive of the motion. I just wanted to make sure that when we put out our, are we going to do a survey around it, do you think, or is that what you're planning? That it's got the relevant details. Sometimes I think those surveys that we put out are too generic. They need to be more specific, because I think, I mean, this is obviously going to affect the business houses, it's going to affect the whole community. So I think we need to be really careful about the wording of the survey. Perhaps it'd be prudent for you as the mover of this motion to run your eyes over that. So is that something that could be, you know, that rather than just, because you've obviously got an idea of what you'd like to see the feedback. So is that something that could happen, that perhaps the Divisional Councillor could have a look at the survey before it goes out?
Through the chair, so as part of the standing committee report, we attached the community consultation plan to the report. So our intention would be we would go door to door with the divisional councillor. We were going to mirror the KTP or the Kinroy report, which will ask people for directly the businesses for their opinion, and we'll also put it out for the community to respond to if they wish. So I think the questions in it were quite good. Is really around, do they support it? If they do support it, what hours would they like? And then some of the impacts around that. So we'll be mirroring the same process. And our intent would be that we'll have someone accompany Councillor Erkins and go to door and have a chat with the businesses. I think that's a better way to get their feedback.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds good.
I'd welcome any of the councillors if we wanted to go over and do a little sit in the street and discuss it with the community. That would be really great. I think it shows our community that councillors do value the opinion of them. And I know it was really great to go with Councillor Henson to Wandai and to Cumbia. We've been to some and to Mergen. So, you know, I'd really welcome, we might be able to have a morning over there and meet the community. Scones. We could try this. We could try the CWA for scones. Yep.
Yes, all good. Happy to take up that invitation, Councillor, and I think it'll be a worthwhile process. So we have the motion there is moved by Councillor Erkin, second by Councillor Potter, that the South Burnett Regional Council undertake public consultation regarding introducing parking regulation and restriction within the Nanango CBD. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 11.2. The Wondai CBD streetscape, the officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council consider and provide feedback as to the results from the community consultation for this project, including the following points. 1, removal of 2 traffic islands. 2, removal of the crossing. 3, proceed to final design, including further design options for alternative footpath colours and construction materials, which included colour options and ease of cleaning. 4, consideration be given to placement options and recognition of traditional owners in the design. And 5, that the proposed final design be taken back to the affected business community and circulated to the broader Wondai community for final feedback before being endorsed by council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Duff, seconded. Councillor Henson. Comments? Councillor Duff.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, we had considerable discussion around this at the committee meeting. I'm happy with the outcome, particularly that we take that design back to the affected business community and the broader community before we finalise the design. So I'm really happy with the wording and of that particular motion. Thank you.
Councillor Henson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just quickly, yeah, some of the conversation with the business owners always, and Councillor Duff was there. We had a great meeting and the feedback, but also take into consideration just the options of seating, which is some is already there, of course, and whether they could have a seat that incorporates a little garden bed like behind where they sit. I think there's one, there's not one in Wondai, but there's one, I saw one just the other day, but which was made comment on, and the possibility of the planter boxes not being so much, or planter, the garden's not so much on the street, but on the footpath, just for consideration. So just some more feedback from community. Thank you.
GM Meehan. I'll come to you shortly, Councillor Duff. GM Meehan. Yep.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to make Council aware that the team and I had a look at this again the other day. We'll move through with those design alterations. I just want to make Council aware it is unlikely that we will start this project before Christmas. We expect at this stage, we anticipate that we will start this in the roundabout conjunctively in around January or early in the new year. So I just wanted Council to be aware of that. I know there were some discussions about starting the roundabout and having it completed before Christmas. The two projects do need to be constructed together, and we'll just be reviewing if there's a change of colour as well. We'll also be just reviewing the roundabout option as well as part of that design review. So happy to proceed with it. We just want to make Council aware of just around expectations for delivery.
Thanks for that feedback, Councillor Duff.
Sorry, just want to also flag that at the business meeting in Wondai, they did ask that whether the bike racks were included in that design, because they want some more bike racks for the rail trail. Thank you.
Yeah, look, interesting conversation, and community feedback and community consultation is certainly a necessary component of being a councillor. But as General Manager has just indicated, we were hoping to have this project well and truly underway by at least probably October, November. I thought GM we were hoping to start. Yeah, so we're going to have a conversation a little bit later on in the agenda, and community consultation is great, and yeah, totally agree with getting it right. But with continual consultation, and Councillor Henson sat up there and there was other councillors there, an enormous amount of consultation has gone into this. Now, the downside to this is the longer this process goes before we start it, the cost implications to your ratepayers are going to could be significant. Totally get it. And people and councillors are looking at me sideways now, but the true matter is we will be discussing a topic here very shortly. And it is consequences of a long drawn out process through community consultation. I totally get it. I totally support community consultation, but I also understand that we're elected members to make hard decisions and get things rolling. Councillor Erkins?
I totally agree with you. And sometimes I think that we give people too many options. It's a little bit like when you ask your kids, what do you want to wear when they're young? Do you want to wear this or do you want to wear that? If you say to them, if you open the wardrobe, you're never going to get an answer. And sometimes I think that's where we go. We just give too many options and listening to too many things. And we are elected to make some decisions. So I think we've got to, you've got to take into consideration the feedback that you're getting, but if you listen to every single person, every single business, you're just never going to come up with a decision. So sometimes you just have to do what you're actually elected to do, and that is make some decisions.
Yeah, and just before we go to Councillor Duff, in saying that, we do listen. It's not that we don't listen to we do listen, but as elected members, we need to work out what's good, what's wrong, and that's what we're elected to do and all that, and it's a process, and I totally get it. And Councillor Duff is about to speak, and she is a big advocate for community consultation, and I agree with it. I do agree with it, but I also know that while ever we continually go back, and how long has this consultation period been going on since for Wandai? And let me know. I just want to say that we do want to get it right for the community because they are the people that live there and have to walk the walk every day. So we need to get it right. But community consultation, yeah. Councillor Duff.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I agree with you in taking the time, but the problem that I find is that I think that and Councillor Urquhart is right. It's about giving them too many options. Like that survey, and I say it with the greatest respect, but everybody would have ticked that box because it just said, do you want a streetscape upgrade? Do you want, a pedestrian crossing? It didn't say where. It didn't. Or I think our consultation needs to be similar to what was discussed before. If you just started off with going down that footpath with all the businesses affected that have got skin in the game and just started from there with your design and then took the design out, I think that would be a better process than just going broad community consultation. Got people walking down the street that probably don't even live in Wandai going, yep, that's all good. So I just think it's the way we do it rather than the actual consultation itself. Thank you.
Yes, interesting comments. And I think, so I think GM, go back and as you indicated, you'll redesign taking up these points of feedback. And the moment you get that, let us know as a group of councillors and we will go over and support Councillor Henson and we'll walk that street and knock on every business door and we'll get this moving as quick as we possibly can because the longer it goes, the more likely it is that they have cost implications. So any other comments before we go to the vote, councillors? Okay, so the Wandai Streetscape motion is moved by Councillor Duff, second by Councillor Henson, that the South Burnett Regional Council consider and provide feedback as to the results from the community consultation for this project, including the following points. 1, removal of 2 traffic islands. 2, removal of the crossing. 3, proceed to final design, including further design options for alternative footpath colours and construction materials, which included colour options and ease of cleaning. 4, consideration to be given to placement options and recognition of traditional owners in the design. And 5, that the proposed final design be taken back to the affected business community and circulated to the broader Wandai community for final feedback before being endorsed by council. So, Councillor Duff, with your comments in saying that you said to go to the affected businesses but not so much to the broader Wandai community, do you want that taken out or do you want that left in?
Oh, well, I'm just seek the advice of GM, me and...
Through the chair, we're happy to leave it in. I think we'll just ask for feedback and publish it broadly.
Thank you.
Okay, so the recommendation or the motion is as follows, as read. So we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we're over to 11.3, application for road licence over a portion of the Toomeys Road Reserve to Binga. You'll find that on page 254. And the officer's recommendation is that the South Burnett Regional Council, 1, advise the applicant and the Department of Natural Resources and Mines that A, it does not object to the application for the road licence over a portion of the Toomeys Road Reserve and nearby unformed road adjacent to Lot 59 FY17 and 60 FY17 as shown in attachment 1. B, should the Department of Natural Resources and Mines approve the road licence, that there be no cost to council associated with the application. And 2, delegates authority under section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer or their delegate to finalise any and all matters associated with the application. And A, execute as road manager form Part C statement in relation to an application under the Land Act 1994 over state land for the proposed road licence. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, second Councillor Henson. Comments, questions, councillors? Go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Move on now to the portfolio for Community Development, Arts, Heritage and Library Services 12.1, Trustee Lease, the Nangoan District Netball Association Incorporated. And the officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council 1 resolves that the exception in Local Government Regulation 2012 Section 2361B 2 applies to council for the disposal by way of grant of a lease of the valuable non-current asset which is lease A on lot 212 on Crown Plan FY 2647 to the Nanango and District Netball Association Incorporated. And 2, delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to negotiate, finalise and execute the lease between Council and the Nanango and District Netball Association Incorporated on terms and conditions the Chief Executive Officer reasonably considers are satisfactory to Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Erkins, seconded Councillor Potter. Questions, comments? It's just renewing the lease for the Netball Association, so I think it's straightforward. We go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 12.2, Blackbutt Avocado Festival 2023. Officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council provide sponsorship of up to $3,000 towards the Blackbutt Avocado Festival 2023. Can I move this? Don't need to, but Councillor Potter, seconded. Councillor Duff. I'll just briefly speak to it, councillors. The Blackbutt Avocado Festival has had a major changeover of committee members with the retirement of Jeff Connor, the president, that has been in place from day dot, and they've missed the opportunity to apply for a grant. I think the next round opens on the 1st of August, and by September 9th, I think the Avocado Festival is. I don't think we'll have the money given. We have done it once outside of the actual process because of similar circumstances. So I've asked, I'm asking the council to support this, to certainly give them, they are struggling for sponsorship. They don't want to lose the Blackbutt Avocado Festival, and this $3,000 would certainly, and I'm asking for the full $3,000 that's available to certainly enable them to provide. They bring anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 people in over the weekend. Councillor Duff?
100% supportive, Deputy Mayor, and I'm thinking now we should do a similar request for the Wandai. They're having a problem with trying to get some funding for an out of, it's just a timing thing with their 120-year celebration of the train. So that came up between February and August, and they're trying to get about similar amounts. So I think we need to be flexible in this and absolutely 100% support the Blackbutt Avocado Festival, and what they do is fantastic, and it's just as declared here, it's a set of circumstances, and yeah, 100% supportive. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm right that we're dealing with this one separately, and Councillor Duff can bring the other one back. Okay, any other questions, comments? So we've got it there now that the South Burnett Regional Council provides sponsorship leave the word up to out, Mr. CEO, and is that a possibility? So Tiana, just the South Burnett Regional Council provides sponsorship of $3,000 towards the, so Councillor Duff and Councillor Potter, are you happy with that change? So it's committing $3,000?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so the amended motion is that the South Burnett Regional Council provides sponsorship of $3,000 towards the Blackbutt Avocado Festival 2023. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much for your support. 13.1. Sorry. Yeah, okay, yep. Happy to do that. So I would like to move that we break for morning tea. Is that? Yep. Yeah, so Councillor Hanson seconded. All those in favour? Thank you all very much. I would think so, yeah. Now back live streaming, so anyone that's back on the stream, welcome back. Excuse me. So we've just got through to 13.1. The motion there is presented. We have a mover, Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Erkins. Any comments, conversation around that, Councillor Potter?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering, with our discussions we had in community consultation the other day, whether we need to add another dot point in here with regards to changing our, I'll probably get advice through you, Chair, to acting GM Brooks with regards to the changing of, I think it was that our local laws? Yep, so do we need to put another dot point in there with regards to the changing of our local laws so we can move forward with this and actually get it done before October?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, obviously this process is probably a little bit separate to the local law review, but obviously through the local law review there'll be community consultation as well, because that's part of the obligations of that process. So, and I'm just mindful of the time of trying to get something back to the October Standing Committee so we can marry it up with the, if Council decides to continue with dog registrations, the renewals going out late October, early November. So in my view, if we threw the local law review in as part of that, it just sort of gets all a bit muddied and a bit blurred. So my preference would be to keep it separate, a separate process.
So with what we were talking about the other day, Councillor Duff, and that we were sort of discussing about, we think it's quite easy, but we realise it's not because it's got to go through the local laws. Is that something that we can actually start now? And I know you say we've got to keep it separate, but is that something we can start now as well? And does that need to be a separate motion through you, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Chair, yeah, look, I mean, we've started that process already. Like we've got a couple of quotations already from people to lead that process of the local law review, because I think the local laws are 2011 vintage, I think they are, so they've got a bit of age on them. So it's not only the animal control one that we're reviewing either, there's a whole raft of them. So yeah, it is more of a holistic approach that we are taking. So, but no, because obviously, yeah, 12 months isn't long to actually do a local law review once you sort of start going through that process, and depending on what changes, amendments you want to make to your current subordinate laws.
Councillor Erkins.
This is probably along the lines of Councillor Potter's inquiry. So on the local laws, because we have discussed a few times since I've been here, even the fact that we have units and the regulations we've got, you know, only 2 dogs per address. So we've got units with, you know, 5 units on, and yeah, or people aren't registering their animals because when they go in and do it, it says they can't. That's the same as the caravan parks. So would that also be part of the local laws? So I just wonder whether it's not possible for us to set a time, sometime for us to have a little bit of a workshop for us to bring in some of those things that we think should be included in those local laws, so that it gives the department something to work with.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Certainly, with the resolution that's before you at the moment, we'll be pretty keen to get a workshop ASAP so we can actually understand what you'd like to go out to community consultation about. Yep. But we can also identify, you know, through that workshop, you know, some of those discrepancies that we've, and you know, we've been working with those local laws for over 10 years. So there's also officers have got views on where there's shortfalls. Yep. So I'm happy to bring that back together for a workshop to have that conversation.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Chair. Yeah, I was just, the question I was going to ask is with regards to how we were going to progress the community consultation, because that second dot point, potential introduction of an animal management charge in lieu of dog registrations, like if that was, would have to be worded carefully, because that means, I think the intention was to everybody, not just people who register dogs, because if you put it up like that dog people would probably think that was great, but not, does everybody want to pay for, like it's a whole can of worms unless you get those questions exactly right with the community. So happy to have it workshopped, and then I'll support it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, Councillor Duff, you weren't here that particular day, whereas the day I was wishing you were, when that was actually mentioned. Not that I don't wish you're not here or every day, but yeah, the rural sector, as I stated, you weren't here that day. The rural sector would be up in arms about that. So it's a delicate space. I'm sure the conversations you would have or have had and will have in that space will be quite aggressively against that particular proposal. But happy to have that workshop and see where we end up in that space.
Thank you. As it is just a motion, it's a suggestion to put forward for the staff to go away and put something together and have that workshop. So we have it in front of us there. The motion moved by Councillor Potter, seconded by Councillor Erkins, that the South Burnett Regional Council undertakes community consultation on council's animal management functions, including dog registration fees, categories and registration areas, potential introduction of an animal management charge in lieu of dog registrations, responsible animal management initiatives, cat registrations, and 2, report be brought back to the October Infrastructure, Environment and Compliance Standing Committee meeting after the community consultation process has been completed. We go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Move on now to 14.1, the amendment to fees and charges. And the officer's recommendation that the 23-24 fees and charges be amended to the following. 1, acceptance of fridges, freezers, water heat pump systems, etc., degassing be reduced to $10 each. And 2, acceptance of tractor tyres which are contaminated or are on a rim be increased to $260 each. 3, at the Mergen, Nanango and Wondai landfills, A, tyres, motorcycles be charged $6 each. B, tyres, car be charged at $10.50 each. And C, tyres, tractor be charged at $129.50 each. And 4, that the amended fees take effect as of 1st of August 2023. Do we have a mover? Councillor Potter, seconded Councillor Erkins. Open to the floor for comment and conversation. Councillor Duff.
I'm just thinking that if you introduce a fee like tractor tyres which are contaminated or in a rim be increased to $260, I'm wondering or worrying about whether that would then entice people to go out to the Cloyner dump, which is unmanned, for example, and put tyres out there because they didn't want to pay $260 to dump a tractor tyre at the Mergen.
Yeah, through you. Yeah, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I mean that's happening already now. Not with tractor tyres, it's passenger tyres and car tyres and all the rest of it. So you know the amount of illegal dumping that's going on at these unsupervised sites probably is directly related to the fees and charges that are incurred at the supervised sites. So that's something that obviously we'll keep working through with council on about how we manage that. But with the tractor tyres, I think we mentioned at the standing committee that we don't see that many come in on rims or contaminated, but it does provide us that opportunity should one present to the waste facility that's the charge, and that's the charge that the contractor actually charges council. So we're not making any money on it as such.
Through you, Acting Chair. So then if I know that when you go and you've got tyres that are, you've just changed the tyres, you have the choice of taking the tyre or paying a fee for the actual tyre company to dispose of it. Is that the same fee, or is it like, is it $10.50 for a car tyre?
Through Mr. Chair, I'm not too sure what the local retailers charge if you retain or get them to retain your tyres, but I know that's the charge that our contractors charge council for the removal, so we just pass those costs on to those that present to the waste facility with those tyres.
Yeah, okay. And that, through you, Acting Chair, so then the same with the tractor tyres, what were you charging and what's the increase there? Just the, so the tractor tyres, have you put them up to from 129 to 260 or how?
Yeah, from memory, I think the fees and charges went through at $40 for some reason, so that was an error that wasn't picked up at the time when the fees and charges were originally considered and approved by council. So that error had now been identified, and the fee now reflects what we get charged by the tyre removalist contractor.
Yeah, through you, Acting Chair. I just wondering whether these fees are actually causing people, well, you're saying they're causing people to go. So are we just making it more likely that people to illegally dump by increasing the fees? Are we better to consider different ways of, like, is it cheaper for us, more economical for us to actually have lower fees to entice people to go there rather than drive out to those other unmanned facilities? I'm just putting it out there because I can just see this causing more and more illegal dumping.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman, it's causing enough illegal dumping already at these unsupervised sites. So it's just not tyres, it's mattresses and fridges and asbestos and commercial waste and that sort of thing. So it is all part of that broader conversation around what we're intending to do with the waste strategy going forward and minimising the risks that council are currently exposed to with the operation of these unsupervised sites. And ideally, what we should be encouraging is product stewardship, compulsory product stewardship schemes. So, when you do buy a tyre, you do pay that $10 on top at the purchase price when it's actually meaningful to you, rather than trying to get $10 out of a customer with, 4 ball tyres that aren't worth anything to them. So, so really our facilities just become a receivable place for things like tyres and mattresses and fridges. Because people are paying top dollar for fridges and mattresses, but they're not paying for the disposal of them when that item is new, which is probably something that I know that there's a number of voluntary product stewardship schemes, but they really should be made mandatory, and our facilities just become a receivable place, and then they get picked up and transported off for recycling.
Councillor Erkins.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. We've just had a conversation where we said if we're looking at dog registration, we shouldn't put a fee on it because everyone shouldn't have to pay for registering everyone's dog. Well, I don't think that everyone should pay for getting rid of everyone's tyres. I think if it's your tyre, that's what we pay for it. So it's not like we're making any money. The fact that they're illegally dumping at places that are unsupervised, I think that just adds weight to our argument that really we're going to have to look at closing some of these areas, because if they're being mistreated and misused, we're having to pay for it. When I say we, I mean ratepayers are having to pay for that. So we did discuss all these fees at the committee meeting, and I'm quite happy with those fees. And as I said, I don't believe that we should look at bringing them down, because I don't think everybody should be paying for somebody else to dispose of their tyres. Thank you.
Councillor Hanchin.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I think, correct me, Manager Brooks, but in the tractor tyre department, there was very, very few anyway. There was only 1 or 2 that came across your desk, I believe. That being said, just a question, and a gentleman who was here last week in the chambers asked a question. We have everything there but truck tyres. Is there a purpose or a point D that perhaps should be there for truck tyres? Because truck tyres are massive across the region. There are thousands upon thousands of them. And in most, sorry, not most, but in certainly across my term as a councillor in Division 6, I have reported, and we have had quite a large number of truck tyres that have been disposed of where they shouldn't have been, of course, but there's no truck tyres there.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Tyres such as passenger tyres or car tyres and truck tyres are already in the fees and charges. The categories here are the ones that just needed amendment. to the current fees and charges that have already been approved by council.
Okay, thank you, Manager Brooks. And just for my own benefit, tyres at the moment truck tyres are at what charge? Is that, happy to take that on notice, but do you know off the top of your head a truck tyre?
Oh, we certainly look it up in the fees and
Yeah,
charges.
no, that's
Yep,
fine.
yep.
Thank you, yep.
Councillor Erkins?
Sorry.
You're right. Manager Brooks, I obviously wasn't here for that discussion when those fees and charges come through. Now, when you go to a tyre shop and you get your tyres taken off, I think they charge you $10 or something in it to get rid of your tyre. So obviously tyres get recycled. Is that a fair comment?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chair. Yep.
So in regards to, has there ever been any thought put into the fact that maybe we could put some sort of a facility, and I know it's hard, but just to collect them rather than, as Councillor Duff said, and Councillor Henson, they've all indicated that there's illegal dumping going on all the time. And if we put these fees and charges on, I'm thinking that anybody that wants to do the right thing will, but it may increase the likelihood of someone dumping tyres on the side of the road out the bush, as we've discovered on trips around. And a question on notice, Darryl, I understand, but is it too much of a drama to look at maybe putting something there where we just put bins and make contact with a collection agency that comes around in those trucks and picks up all the tyres off the tyre dealerships and all that? Have we ever looked into something like that?
That's three, Mr. Chair. Yeah, obviously we've got a contractor that comes through and removes all the tyres from our waste facilities, and I think we've got a question on notice report coming back to the Infrastructure Standing Committee when that next meets, just around what happens with those tyres. I think there's a question that Councillor Henson raised a little while ago, so we're circling back on that. So, and obviously, you know, there's only so many tyre contractors around, so I've no doubt that the contractor we use also calls into the local tyre retailers and collect tyres that are generated and stockpiled at those retail outlets. So, you know, there is some collaboration once they're in the South Burnett. You know, they do the milk run to the various stockpiles that are around the South Burnett.
So these prices that you've got here, are they just more like cost recovery sort of costs?
Yeah, that's correct.
So if I can, Chair, so there was a company that was looking, and it would be before Darryl's time here, we actually supported, they were looking for a block of land, they were going to take out tyres and stand walls anyway without going into their details. They haven't any opportunity where we could dispose of at a cost, and I think, if I may, for the report, the fact that the degassing of the fridges has been dropped substantially because we found an alternative contractor, because that was way dearer than what it is there, but we've got a different contractor who'll do it at a. So these are all. This is all what it is. What it costs us to get rid of these things. So there's not a dollar in it. Now we will continue, and again, the degassing of the fridge is a practical example. Look for alternative contractors, and if that other gentleman. That business had got up, we would have gladly given them every tyre we could lay our hands on. But there is, if I may be so bold, whilst there's a market out there for recycled tyres, it's limited and there's no money in it for us, nor at this point in time is there any cost offset for us.
Thanks for that. And obviously that just indicates that the staff's done everything they possibly can to source other alternatives. So happy with that. So Councillor Duff, just briefly.
Just one more question, just to Manager Darryl. Just suggested that there should be a voluntary, what was it, an incentive?
Product stewardship
So
scheme.
is there something we can do around that as a dot point to say that we investigate, or is it something that we can do to drive that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yeah, product stewardship schemes have been around for a little while, and there is a tyre product stewardship scheme, but it is voluntary. So, you can sign up to it, but doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to actually do anything. And I know, there's other product stewardship schemes that we're looking at signing up to. So really, it needs to come from the state or feds to mandate these product stewardship schemes as being compulsory. And then, as I said, then our facilities just become receivable facilities. Because if someone comes out with a tyre and they've already paid for the disposal at the time of purchase and it's free, well then, yeah, that's going to be the incentive for them to do the right thing rather than going to an unsupervised facility or some road reserve somewhere and dispose of it. So there needs to be greater emphasis and seriousness taken to mandating product stewardship schemes.
Thank you. So through you, Acting Chair, so is that something that we could, I know it's probably, we did the Local Government Association resolutions, but is that something that should be taking to the local government, is it a state issue or a federal issue?
Probably a state. We're going to be at 10 resolutions now. We're pretty much loaded unless we wanted to swap one out. I mean, certainly, yeah, you could put one up, but just thinking 10 is a significant number of resolutions for us to be putting forward to the council. So unless there was something I could drop out, I would be reluctant to go past 10 in that space, given the work involved in them. Can I just, sorry, Councillor, so a truck tyre in the fees and charges, tyres truck each is $29, tyres with rim $40, truck tyres.
Okay, sorry, could I move just that we add an extra dot point that we write to the state government, requesting like encouraging them asking them to put in I need the help with the wording. But what is it?
Yeah,
like
a product stewardship.
A compulsory?
A mandatory product stewardship scheme for tyres only. Tyres, yep. And the other thing we can do through you, Mr. Chair, is I think product stewardship schemes have been discussed at length at the various LGAQ conferences, so we can also get in contact with the LGAQ to see what previous resolutions have gone up around product stewardship schemes and just see where they landed.
Thank you. So I'd like to add that extra dot point if Councillor Potter and Councillor Erkins are happy to have that included.
Councillor Potter, do you want to make a comment?
Yeah, look, I was just, with regards to the tyre stewardship, it's all part of that circular economy stuff which we're looking into, I believe. Is that correct, Mandy Brooks? So, and I'm thinking, because Tyre Stewardship Australia is already involved with that collaboration with the circular economy, so I'm thinking that might working quite well. Thanks.
Good. I think it's well worth, Mr. CEO, again, revisiting those people you were referring to. They were looking at a block of land up Racecourse Road at Nanango at one stage, and we certainly tried to help them. But I think, as we all know, rubbish waste is going to become a major concern for all councils, and I think get on the front foot and see if we can get something happening. So that's up to us individual councillors, I guess, to go out and maybe find some information and see if we can pin down another business to bring to the council. Okay, so everyone's happy with that. The changes are made. Councillor Potter moved, Councillor Erkins second, and the motion is there in front of you as presented. No more comments. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 14.2. Maidenwell Transfer Station Capital Budget. The officer's recommendation that the Maidenwell Transfer Station be 1. Designed and constructed based on the provision of 2. 27 cubic metre roll-on, roll-off bins. 2. That the increase in the capital works budget from 350 to an estimated 685,000 be funded from restricted cash reserve. And 3. That the project capital budget be amended at the first quarter budget review. Do we have a mover? Councillor Duff, seconded Councillor Henson. Comments? I'll go to, before we start, Manager Darrell. Do you want to have any comments here, or are you waiting? Probably, I'll try a different tack. Let's go to the council. Councillors, Councillor Duff.
Thank you, Acting Chair. Yeah, I 100% support this, but I just wanted to flag that the reason why I support this is because I support those outlying areas having transfer stations, and I know that this Maidenwell transfer station was one of the ones that was considered to be closed, just along with Cloyne and different ones like that. I'm very, very supportive of these. I think that we don't give the ratepayers a lot for their dollars, and at least offering them that the opportunity to have those local transfer stations is, in my view, really, really important. So roads, rates and rubbish is core council business. Happy to absolutely support this 100%, but just putting on, letting the other councillors know that when we're talking about closing these small transfer stations, one of them on the list was Maidenwell. So I'm going to be arguing to keep the Maidenwell one, to keep the Cloyne one, all of those. I'm going to just putting it out there that I'm 100% supportive, and that I'm going to be fighting to retain those in whatever way, shape or form it may come, whether we need to put, have swipe cards like we do at some of those other, like Proston's got a swipe card system which works really well, something like that, but absolutely supportive. Thank you.
Councillor Erkins.
I'm very supportive of this. One of the main reasons that I'm supportive of this is I know that the Maidenwell community are very involved and do make sure that the current tip is kept clean. They've told me on a number of occasions they go and clean it up themselves. So I think, opposed to a tip in a community where they don't look after it, this is one that definitely, I believe the community are quite proud of keeping it tidy up there. So I'm very supportive.
Councillor Ancient.
Everyone's looking at me, yeah. Look, very supportive, but I think this council, the next council and the public need to be well aware that this will all come at a massive cost to keep them. I have the map there. No one wants to give up transfer stations. We have multiple ones out in Division 5 and 6, that's for sure, and across our region, but that's an expensive space we're going into. So this chamber, and I know the managers are well aware of that, but we'll be having a conversation, no doubt, further down the track as to how they're managed, and I guess, dare I say it, rules and regulations will come into play. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Welcome back, Councillor Shoemaker. We're up to 14.2, the Maidenwell Transfer Station capital budget there that you probably got on your screen. Do you have any comments around this? Councillor Duff has supported it. Everyone's been in support at this stage. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Jones. I did have a question as to, I see the report here. I wanted to better understand the costs, the cost estimate. We originally budgeted 350,000, and now we're talking about 685,000. Have I got that right? And I just wanted to understand, is this really the best way to deliver this service? I do get that we need the, a level of security around them. But yeah, I would like to better understand the budget. It's probably a question for Manager Brooks in terms of what have we actually estimated for, and are we sure that this is the best way to deliver this service, and is there a way we can get the outcome but maybe not spend quite as much money?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. So obviously this project has been kicking around for a little while. Councillor Jones may know how many years it has been kicking around for, but it has been a while, and as we know, with a lot of capital works, budgets have only gone up, and with all due respect to those people that predate me, I'm not too sure how much rigour went around, that cost estimate of 350,000, given, we had to buy the land. We didn't know what the land was going to cost us. We didn't know what the transport main roads requirements were going to be to access the site. Plus, we didn't really sort of know what infrastructure you wanted there. And obviously, we put three options before council in this report. So so it is unfortunate that things haven't progressed as quickly as what we'd all like. We're still at the planning application stage because we've purchased a property that doesn't actually exist at the moment, but that's being rectified, and we're doing the development application for the actual facility to be constructed on that block. So, and then we've got some exemptions we need around the removal of the vegetation. So there are a number of processes, I guess you could say, that we need to follow through before we can, start that construction. And, and that's the purpose of this report, I guess, is to just seek that clarification and confirmation from council as to what infrastructure they actually would like to see at this facility. Obviously, what we're proposing there isn't what's there currently. We've got front lift bins that are serviced by JJ's Waste and Recycling. They seem to be, even though we do get, a number of items that don't quite make it into the bin and bulky items, mattresses and fridges and tyres, the old usual suspects. The current facility is servicing that region, I guess. It's just a matter of whether council wishes a like-for-like facility, or whether they wish to look at this a bigger facility that future-proofs that area going forward with their waste needs.
Thank you. And can I confirm how many people actually use this facility in that surrounding area? How many residents or ratepayers rely on it? And is there still a bin collection service in Maidenwell?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, the village or township of Maidenwell does receive a curbside domestic collection service. It doesn't extend much outside of the township area of Maidenwell. As far as usage, we don't sort of keep data there on the number of people because it's obviously an unsupervised site. But I know that I think the JJs are there twice a week servicing the bins, which I think when we add up the total capacity of those bins, it comes to 56 cubic metres a week, plus whatever's around the bins on the ground. But yeah, so if you go 55 to 60 cubic metres a week removed from Maidenwell.
Yeah, thank you for the additional information. I'm sorry, colleagues, I can't support the motion as much as I want to, because I do want to see us rectify this issue in Maidenwell. To be funding another couple of $100,000 for an unmanned site is a concern for me, particularly knowing that we have got significant challenges with our landfills in the years ahead, and significant capital spend that's going to be needed on those landfills. I would have liked to see us look at other options to maybe try to keep costs down. I'm probably questioning whether we really do need the 227 cubic metre bins. I understand, once you start doing conversations with DTMR about, estimating their requirements at $165,000. I'm worried we're still not even considering the provision of power to the site. I don't know. I'm just really concerned. I actually think we've got, my honest opinion, looking at our budget, we've got too many transfer stations in our region that we really can't afford without increasing the cost of waste management fees for our ratepayers year on year, and to take money from our budget that we've saved for water, which I know we've got our waste budget, not our water budget, I've read that wrong, our waste budget, knowing that we've got a significant amount of spend with the Kingroy landfill and we're running out of airspace. I'm just nervous about doing this without probably going through. I would like to see us have gone through the design or the options, or look at if there were any other ways we could meet this need without having to spend spend more money. So I don't know. I'm just nervous about this one because I know, we're just going to have to year on year continue to increase our rates if we don't start to do something a bit drastic about, and the costs of waste are increasing. So I'm torn because I really would like to see this out.
You're on mute. Did you press the wrong button, Kirst? We can't hear you.
Oh no! Oh, sorry. But I had my microphone on. I'm really nervous about supporting this application, this recommendation. I'm going to be really honest. I'm nervous that we don't have the money in the budget to meet our forecasted landfill needs for Kingaroy into the future. And I know there's some significant work happening looking at all of our landfill space. And I know there's going to be significant, as do all of you, capital spend in the upcoming years. And we just don't have the money in the bank. I'm really nervous about taking more restricted cash for an unmanned transfer station when we've had so many challenges with our existing unmanned transfer stations. I guess I'm just sitting on the fence. I understand the costs have increased because of the DTMR requirements and, that we had to buy the land and all of these things. But I am worried when we've got so many transfer stations and landfills already in our region. I'm worried we don't have enough ratepayers to cover the costs, and I'm worried that our waste management fees, we know, are on a trajectory that means they're going to have to keep increasing year on year for our ratepayers. And I'm just very nervous about increasing a level of service, increasing the budget on this project from restricted cash that we really have been banking on for other waste needs. So I guess I'm just flagging. I'm kind of sitting on the fence. I'm not actually sure if I can support this recommendation because I'm genuinely concerned about our ability to fund our future capital works needs. And I also equally recognise that what the Mainwell community currently has isn't sufficient and isn't meeting that need. But I'm also worried about how often these sites are abused and waste is left in places that it shouldn't be. I know we have to do something about it, but I guess I just wasn't expecting the budget to be increased by an additional 335,000. That's almost, double what we'd budgeted for. So I guess I'm sitting on the fence. I would, is there time to actually go through, do we need to make this decision today, or can we actually go through what's actually been planned in more detail and look at our bigger picture waste strategy? We've got so many transfer stations in our region that we're struggling to actually fund the maintenance and operation of now. By all means, I'm supportive of the Mainwell one, but I worry that, really looking at our budget, to be honest, we need to start really thinking about whether we can afford all these transfer stations into the future. And I'm nervous about taking restricted cash, when I know we've got enormous capital spend ahead of us.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor. Don't disagree with anything you've said, but I'll pass over to Councillor Potter, and then Manager Brooks and I will have a conversation.
Thank you. This is something we've been looking at since, I believe this came in last term, Councillor Jones, Councillor Duff. This is something we've been looking at since, 2018 or 29. Look, it's that long, and to have that price go up, because I think back then we were looking at 350. But the fact is, prices go up anyway. But look, what we've also got to look at is the cost of rubbish. And I do agree with Councillor Duff. We actually can't be closing some of these places because it's actually just going to make the matter worse. So if we start closing these places and not building them, I do think that we need to look at, this may be a question on notice through you, Acting General Manager Brooks, with regards to the Proston one. Councillor Duff was talking about how well that one is managed. It's done by card, I think, as well. So I actually wouldn't mind some figures of people that go through there if we have any issues with it. and things like that, because I think that may be something, you know, if that one is working really well, then that may be something we need to look at for some of the other places, because sometimes a little bit of extra money in an outlay will save us money in the long term. So that was something I'd actually like to look at. And I do understand where Councillor Shoemaker is coming from, because, you know, the cost of rubbish, the cost of waste and transfer stations, it's really quite astronomical, the amounts of funding that we receive, and then the amounts of funding we actually have to pay to state government. So, and that's not a promise from state government. That may stop whenever they decide to stop paying us. So these numbers probably may even go up. But yeah, so if we could get those details with regards to Proston, I'd really appreciate that, because if that's something that's working well, then maybe that needs to be replicated.
Thank you, Councillor Anchin.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just quickly, yeah, obviously council spent, as we know, a lot of money on transfer stations a long time ago, and I know out in the Division 6 in the Chipinga area, when a transfer station was built there, it was greatly appreciated. It's seriously used. I'm staggered by the 60-odd cubic metres that comes out of Maidenwell per week. To put that into perspective, if Maidenwell wasn't to have a transfer station, and you put that 60 cubic metres onto, obviously, Cumbia, Nanango or Blackbutt, that would be a burden on those facilities then, and I'm not sure what they take or the tonnages or cubic metres are there. Yeah, and I look at that map with our transfer stations, and most of them are roughly 30 kilometres apart. I think we have something like 17, is that correct, Manager Brooks, across our region? That is a seriously informative map that we all got there some time ago. But yeah, Maidenwell been talked about for a long time, and had it been built 12 months ago, we would have built it, I believe, Councillor Jones, Deputy Mayor, probably what was tabled originally, and not what we're talking now. So the old do it once and do it well, but I know there's a lot of work, and regulatory standards will come into this down the track somewhere, which we've got to negotiate. But yeah, and I can feel your sentiments, Councillor Shoemaker, but I think for that amount of rubbish, 60 cubic metres, I think Maidenwell is certainly in the loop to have that money spent there to control it.
Okay. Yeah. No, well, I'm going to go first. Okay, so as the manager's indicated, been on the go for 2 years, and I understand, and I've spoken to the CEO, and he's calmed the farm with me and all that sort of stuff, saying there's significant issues and whatever else that they've had to deal with. But not very often I say too much negative, but I do believe that this has slipped through the network, how or what, I don't know. But so as far as the catchment area goes, for Councillor Shoemaker's benefit, this goes right up to Saddle Tree Creek at the foot of the Bunya Mountains, comes all the way down. It takes in a massive chunk of Hazeldean. It goes up nearly towards Ellesmere. One side of Ellesmere Road takes it into Cumbia, and the other side pretty much brings it down to Maidenwell. It goes right out. I've had people come out from Haley Creek. I've had all the way into halfway into Nanango, which is Hazeldean, right back around and down towards Kuya. So massive catchment area, and as we know, there's more coming. Now, as far as not knowing, and I understand, Manager Brooks, that you've come in halfway through this, but as far as what was required up there, our staff did know. We sat up there, we spoke, they knew what we wanted was exactly what Cumbia's got. That was the infrastructure we told them, and that was the design that was supposed to come back. And we wanted a PIN code on the gate so that the code could be distributed out. Now, as far as the operations inside the fence, and that was the main thing. Now, we pretty much guaranteed the community that that's what we'd go away and get. We'd get a fenced waste site with a PIN code for that facility. And so I do not, is that included in this proposal right here, or what's the go there?
Through you, Mr. Chair. At the moment, it's not proposed for a PIN code because we've got the issue of power, so we need to go that solar option. So we're not discounting it, but based off the estimates that we've got, it's just open facility, whatever hours that we may stipulate, but that isn't locked in by any stretch of the imagination. If that's what council wants, that's what we'll endeavour to provide, subject to getting that solar access gate in place. Because I think Councillor Shoemaker indicated that the cost estimates don't include power to the site.
Yeah, that's correct. So going way back when we sat up in the community hall and we spoke to the community and the community group, and there was a good number of people up there. There was about 30 people on that particular night. We had engineers, and Powen was here at the time, and he's moved on. I understand all that, but the information should have been recorded and what was there, and it was a major request from the community was a PIN code, exactly the same as what Cumbia's got. So there was no disillusionment as far as the staff and what infrastructure was required and all that. And this is going back 2 years. And I understand the process of the land and all that. And I've had a conversation around, and yes, that happened pretty quick. And I can't believe, and I may be completely wrong here, but as far as no planning, no design work or anything has even started, and yeah, you'll probably tell me that we didn't know that we were going to get the block of land, we didn't know what we were going to do this, but yeah, I just think, I'm sorry, but this is something that's disappointed me immensely. And Maidenwell, we told them that it was coming for 2 years. For 2 years. Now, the gated thing was a necessity. In the internal operations, as far as the bins go and all that, like I say, I go back out there now and I'm happy to do it. But I tell you now, I'll be taking staff with me because they won't be happy, because what they were expecting and what we're going to deliver or try to convince them to accept is nowhere near what was involved in that initial conversation. So, and I'm with council, like to see $335,000 on top of the initial budget, I totally get it. I totally get it. And it's in my division, and I struggle with those figures, but we pretty much guaranteed this community that this was going to happen 2 years ago, and they continue to wait. They continue to wait. So I will be supporting this motion in some way, shape or form for a transfer station to go there. Now, what it takes to get it, I'm happy to work with. Now, I've spoken to Mark, that he's spoken to CEO and spoken to different stuff. Manager Brooks, is there maybe an alternative for a like-for-like sort of thing? Is there other options that you may have discussed that may be different to what the recommendation is here today? Because I do want to get something on the board today, because this community's waited long enough. 2 years is well and truly enough. And I've heard all the excuses, and legitimate some of them, but I won't accept others on this particular one. So happy to work with it and move forward. But yeah, Maidenwell has been guaranteed this, and it's time for it to be delivered. How we get there, I think it needs to move very quickly. It needs to be prioritised. So happy to work with the rest of the chamber and all staff to try and get an outcome. So Manager Brooks, over to you for anything you got to add, mate.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Chair. And obviously that's the intent of the report is the project has, whilst it has been lagging, we're now at the point of really getting some clarification from council regarding, what you actually want there. And obviously, the 350,000 that was originally allocated for the project is totally inadequate in today's dollars. So really the intent is to come back to council, get a direction from council today, so then we can proceed, with the designs. We've got people on board that have done some preliminary designs, but obviously, they needed to know what we're actually trying to aim for at this facility. And then that also dovetail into the planning application, which, as we know with planning applications, we've got to get the information right in that application so council can do the assessment and do the approval. So, once a decision or direction comes from council, we'll get back onto those stakeholders that are involved in the project and start moving ahead with it.
Thanks, Manager. Now, I believe that through the staff, there's an alternate option here that I'll get Tiana to just put up. It's there it is there. It's designed and constructed based on a like-for-like design, use of full front lift bins, that the increase in the capital works budget 350 to 460, and that the project capital budget be amended at the first quarter. Now, that Manager would not include a fence and solar panel operated front gate. Is that correct?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, that's all the scenarios that we've put forward in the report are like for like. It's just really that infrastructure in place. So obviously a like for like, we don't have a retaining wall to construct or engineer. So that's the reason why it's as low as it is. But obviously, if we go with 10 cubic metre bin or a 27 cubic metre bin, well then we need bigger engineered structures. But certainly, no, we hear you in relation to that gate, and we can proceed along those lines with that project.
So, Manager, if we were to take away any of this construction and infrastructure like Cumbia's got as far as the raised areas, and you have your bin down the bottom and you drive up the top and throw your rubbish out down into the bins, the access would be just drive in your ute, throw it over the edge of the bin, have your 220, because 227 cubic metre bins, roll on, roll off, would be the easiest service level, obviously, and it equates to very similar to what we've already been taken out as far as 56 cubic metres a week. So those two bins would need to be addressed once a week. Is that correct?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, that's the intent. Is that 56 cubic metres is pretty close to that volume that we do get each week based at the current facility. So
Yeah.
we are anticipating just that collection once a week.
So I know, look, and I know you won't have the figures, Manager, and can I just say that I'm not cranky with any of the staff. I'm just disappointed at just how it's all unfolded and all that. I'm not trying to bag anybody. As anyone knows me in 7 years, I've got the back of the staff all the time. I appreciate it. I just getting a little bit frustrated with this one. But so, if we were to construct the fence and the gate, being the priority for that community up there, because the reason why that's a priority is to try and eliminate that. If we're taking it back off the street and putting it back into in off the road, all that existing waste facility area now will be all opened up to the public viewing, and you'll be able to see. At the moment, people can go in there just quickly, drop off their stuff. The idea was to get a gated waste facility with a PIN code for the people in the area only. Now, who knows whether that will stop all the people coming from Kia, and I'm not being disrespectful for them, but I know that they drive through on their way to work and all the rest of it, and because it's a free dump and the one down at Kia is not, and it's not open all the time, they bring all their rubbish to our facility, dump it on the edge with the bins, and that's part of what so that's the whole process, was trying to eliminate that. Whether it does or not, I don't know. So my question is, if we have the gate and the fence and minimise the operational facilities internally, is there still that possibility that you could do that for that 460 with the alternate motion, roughly? And I know that's a question I notice. I know you can't give me a confident answer, but in your workings, would that be a possibility?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I mean, obviously, we just need to take that away and just have a look at it. And just see what sort of facility you get at the end of the day for that money. So, yeah.
Well, taking in everyone's conversations, can I put forward a procedural motion as of today that yourself and your staff go away and work on a facility that has a fence with a pin-coded gate with minimal internal operational change, and try and get it as close as you possibly can to 460 or 450,000 or whatever it takes, but to look at that other option as a high priority and bring it back to council ASAP. Is that? I get, yeah, leave on the table, but with that proviso that that information is done as a highest priority, because 2 years is ample time for the community to wait. I see that you've done a huge amount of work already, and I don't know that you'll need to do a great deal. I think it may be just coming down with the proposal you've got in the internal operations for your bins. I think we just need to look at the cost of a fence and a pin-coded gate to go around what you're proposing that's already there. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I mean, I'm just mindful of, hearing the message that, the project's been delayed. So, if we push it out another month, that delays it another month. So, what I can say is, that $460,000 for a like for like. So basically putting the bins that we've got there inside the fence, with the perimeter fence around it, we can, see what the costs are for that, solar panel access gate with the PIN code, because really that's the only thing that would be different. And obviously we're coming back with a first quarter budget review amendment. So if it's a little bit more than that, well then, we can make that adjustment at the first quarter budget review, just in trying to get the project kicking along, because, another month passes by and still nothing happens.
So what you're proposing is to start the project with the perimeter fence and the gate, and then if we need to adjust the budget on the $460,000 by 20,000 or whatever, we can adjust that at the first quarter.
Yeah, correct. I think all I need to know is what infrastructure do you want inside, and we certainly hear the message around the perimeter fence and the gate. It's really, what option do you wish to proceed with the bins inside the gate, inside the fence?
Well, councillors, you've all heard that. I'll just quickly run around every individual and just get your thoughts on that, whether or not you're happy to move forward under that process. Councillor Henson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'd even be happy that whatever it is over that 460-odd thousand that's projected there, if it's under the $685,000, that's a huge saving, and that could be then funded from restricted cash. Just in that, though, I'd like to ask the question, or if it's not, to certainly be incorporated in that security CCTV cameras there. If you're going to that trouble with pins and you're going to restrict perhaps outsiders from the area, we need a camera system there.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Potter.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Look, with regards to this, that's fine. I'm more than happy to go with it. But I would just like to say that, we've got those new solar lights we can use. And also, instead of an actual solar pin gate, because the sun doesn't shine all the time, and I'm thinking that you can get those padlocks that have the key codes, the pin codes on, which might actually work out a lot cheaper. We don't have to worry about putting power to the place then. That's all. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, Councillor Duff.
Yeah, I'm supportive, and that's what I was really keen on getting that PIN code, and I agree with you that absolutely needs to happen, because otherwise it's just going to be another one of our transfer stations that has all that illegal dumping. That's what I flagged before, and I think we need to move ahead with this, because, as you've said, the Maidenwell people have waited and waited, and the longer we hold this off, the more expensive the costs are going to be. And so, yeah, 100% supportive, because this is not just about the actual Maidenwell people, it's about the rural people outside Maidenwell, because they've already got a bin service, but the rural people don't have that. So, yeah, 100% supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duff. Councillor Erkins.
Yes, supportive of it.
Councillor Shoemaker.
Yes, look, I'm struggling because there's really not enough information in the report to tell me exactly how or why this project is going to cost some $460,000. You can build a small house for that. I would like to understand how big is the actual site that we're putting this on? Is how much land did we actually buy at this time, and how big is this site? And if it says the roads will be unsealed, like, I don't understand how the cost could be so high when we're talking about, like, I'm a farmer, I've built fences before, I've leveled pads, I've had a dozer out recently. I don't know, it just seems like a hell of a lot of money, and I'm struggling to understand where it's going.
Yeah, through you.
It's probably a question. Yeah.
Yeah, no, through you, Mr. Chair. I've got the spreadsheet here and all the calculations, so it just depends on how much detail you want to go into it. But, that cost goes from the whole establishment, your traffic management, your survey, your tree clearing, which depends on which option you go as to how many trees need to be cleared. Then obviously, you got to grub the site, you got the earthworks, for your internal roads, your hard stand construction. I mean, keeping in mind, potentially we have truck and dog going into this site, so it needs to be weatherproofed. You've got the concrete slab for the bins to sit on, so during that wet weather, it's sort of weatherproof as best as we can. For the 10 and 27 cubic metre options, there's the retaining wall. The 10 cubic metre option is a 1.2 high retaining wall, and the 27 cubic metre bin is a 2.2 metre high retaining wall. We need a couple of new bins, we need the perimeter fence, we've got the gate, stormwater management, signage, and decommissioning the existing facility. So, and I think it was a 1.8 metre high perimeter fence, chain wire. No, there's no roof proposed over that. So, and then obviously you've got your main roads requirements on top of that. We've got a planning application that needs to be developed. We've got a flora fauna that needs to be done as well before the tree clearing takes place. So when you throw all that into the mix, it soon gets away on you, unfortunately.
Yeah, clearly. I'm struggling with this one, to be honest. To read in the report that by year 7 our cash reserves for waste will be depleted, and knowing that we don't have enough money in the budget at the moment, we've haggled and made really difficult decisions, like not replacing trucks or contacting the EA about extending the amount of time that we've got to put a weighbridge in the Department of Environmental Sciences. I'm really struggling with increasing the level of service, knowing that we've got that shortfall, knowing that rates will increase over time to meet the needs of waste, and not really seeing that level of detail. I certainly understand there's a lot of red tape, clearly, in terms of, making sure that you can meet the flora and fauna needs and those sorts of things. But this is a lot of money for what is, a small scale project, I would have thought. And I guess I'm struggling a bit. I'm not sure where I sit with this, sorry. I really do think, while I agree with Councillor Duff that it's important our rural people have access to transfer stations, absolutely. We have got so many in the region. I think the PIN code is so important because we don't want to see those unsupervised site instances of just absolute abuse of our sites, which has happened everywhere else. And would be a high risk for here, being that the current site already gets abused in this way. I don't know, I'm struggling. It's a huge, without seeing the bigger picture and what I know, we're halfway through our waste review. I don't know, I'm just struggling to see if this is actually the best use of our funds. But I feel that we've gone too far to go backward, and we almost have to do it. So I don't know. I'm on the fence.
Yep. Thanks, councillor, and fully understand where you come from. Fair comments. So, Mr. CEO, just guide me here. the third option that we've got there, that the Maidenwell transfer station be one, designed and constructed based on like-for-like design, use of front lift bins with a perimeter fence and pin code security gate, and two, that the increase in the capital works budget from 350,000 be reviewed and amended at the first quarter budget review. Now, I'd like to put that forward as a procedural motion.
Well, it's an alternative motion to
Or an
the,
alternative motion,
yeah,
yep.
so it's the first one, so we can lose the middle one.
Yep.
Yep, all right, so delete him. So you've got a motion that's been moved and seconded that either has to be amended or dealt with. You could amend with, I suppose it's a fairly substantial, so you'd probably be best to run it as a proper amendment if that's the case.
Yep.
Moved and seconded. Now the only thing I just would add while I've got the opportunity, Daryl, there's been I think you've spent the 350,000 that's in there. There's actually the purchase of the property has already come out of that. So there's probably roughly about 100,000 of that budget already spent. Now I'll stand corrected on those numbers, but so the 350 is a project budget, and this year's capital program, and I'm going straight off memory, but I thought I queried it at the time because it didn't marry up from the project budget to this year's capital allocation. This year's capital allocation is 250 from memory. So so there would be, so it probably needs a good look at first quarter review, whichever way we go. Make sure that those numbers are right. But acting chair, if you were going to move that, I would just move it as an amendment, debate the amendment, and then fall back to the previous resolution. If you're going to sort it out today.
Yeah, right. So I'll move that as an amendment, that the Maidenwell transfer station, as their 1 and 2 presented. So that's the amendment. We go straight to that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Duff. As far as conversation goes, Councillor, I think we've all made ourselves pretty clear. I don't know that anyone's changed their mind in the last, and possibly, and you know, in the last couple of seconds, but that's what I'd like to put forward. So if there's any comments or questions before we go to the vote. Councillor Shoemaker.
Just a question, Chair. I don't understand that the increase in capital budget from 350 be reviewed and amended at the first quarter budget. Are we amending that to the proposed 460, or is that just an open number there? And I just wanted to confirm with the CEO what you meant. Did we only allocate 250 this year from the remaining funds from the year before based on the sale of the land? Is that what you're saying, or have we already allocated another 250? I just wanted to confirm. Sorry, I didn't quite understand what you meant.
Okay, so sorry, I'll run in reverse. There was a total project budget of 350. Some of it's been spent in last financial year. It's over 2 financial year. There was an allocate, and I would have to stand corrected on the number, but there was a capital allocation that doesn't equate to 350,000. So it's not extra. It's 200. Thinking it's 250,000 has been allocated in this year's capital budget to do the actual works, the planning and everything else. So the total budget, this is talking about a total budget, not this year's allocation. And on the second point, that any potential increase, that's just so Tiana, if we just tidy that up, that the increase is picked up, that any potential increase in the capital works budget be considered at the first quarter review. So if it comes back and we do need a change to the capital program depending on the design, well then that would be dealt with at first quarter review.
And that would be September?
That would be September, but I would think we would try and get a design report back to the August meeting.
Yeah, okay. I'm supportive of that. I'd like to see the design report and the detail around the costs.
Okay, any more conversation? If not, we'll go to the vote. The amendment there, all those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Now the amendment becomes a resolution, so the resolution moved by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Duff, is at the Maidenwell Transfer Station as presented there in front of you. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Again, thank you. Okay, 15.1, request to waive hall hire fees for Wondai Town Hall. And the officer's recommendation that council waive the full Wondai Town Hall hire fees as a contribution to the CTC Youth Services and Wondai Neighbourhood Watch free driver safety event for the local community. Do we have a mover? Councillor Henson, seconder Councillor Duff. Straightforward process, conversation, questions? If not, straight to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. 16, we have nothing. 17.1, the Regional Economic Futures Fund. The officer's recommendation that the South Burnett Regional Council appoint a councillor as a proxy for the Mayor and also for the Chief Executive Officer in the circumstance that either is unable to attend a Stakeholder Advisory Committee meeting. So, Mr CEO, do you want to elaborate on that and what it's about and what the role is?
Just briefly, Chair, we've spoken about the ref, so due to the sad personal circumstances, Mayor wasn't able to attend yesterday, so Councillor Shoemaker attended with myself. There's 2 more meetings face-to-face, and the last one will be concluded on the 1st of September. They did speak yesterday about ongoing review meetings maybe into next year, but we'll wait and see. So we've got 2 meetings, one in August, one in September. I'm actually got both of them plugged into the diary. So but in case influenza or any other unfortunate circumstance that comes, we did make the inquiry, as did other committee members. Are we able to send a proxy? Yes, we are. And this is just a mechanism to nominate a proxy.
Alrighty, so I guess if we're going to follow the new procedure, it just drops down if the mayor's not available. What's Councillor Potter? Sorry, didn't see you.
Thank you. Look, with discussions and everything that we've had with regards to this, I'd like to move that we put in Councillor Shoemaker as proxy for the Mayor, because this is a council resolution, so we can do that. It doesn't actually have to fall back to the Deputy Mayor. So I'd like to move that Councillor Shoemaker be proxy for the Mayor and that GM Meehan be proxy for the CEO. And yes, everybody knows.
Yeah. I also wouldn't have minded attending those. Yeah. Yeah, no. So, Councillor Shoemaker, yep.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Look, I would really like to be involved in this process. I've been working on the 25-year economic roadmap for some time and have presented various deputations, written various resolutions, motions, briefing papers, and had, as the economic development portfolio, regional development portfolio holder, economic transition is a key part of our regional development strategy. It's something that I have been working on for the last since the beginning of the term, and it's something I'm very passionate about seeing good outcomes for our region, and hold a strong relationship with the Department of State Development along with all other key stakeholders, and just really feel that there's no time to muck around in this. We absolutely need to be at the table. We need to have our ducks in a row, and we need to be advocating for the very best outcomes for our region, because unfortunately the rapid pace of change is not keeping up. And I just, I just would really very much welcome the opportunity to be at the table if the Mayor is unavailable to attend. So I'd like to second the motion.
Yep. Yeah, no, happy with that. Righto, so any more comments? If not,
Yeah, Deputy Mayor, just, I'm assuming that there's only 2 allowed. Is that correct? Yep. You've expressed your intent, Deputy Mayor, that you wouldn't mind being involved in that. Is there any benefit in with respect to Manager Meehan to swap Manager Meehan for yourself, Deputy Mayor, if you express the fact that you'd like to be involved in that?
yeah, no, more than happy. I'm happy to drop in there, yeah, so, yep.
And I guess the question to Manager Meehan, that's okay with you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, happy for that. And look, I was, Councillor Shoemaker's comments there, I was quite happy to allow that to happen. But yeah, more than happy to drop in case the CEO and if the Mayor and the CEO for whatever reason can't make it together, I'd be more than happy to travel with Councillor Shoemaker and represent the South Burnett region. So no, I was happy to endorse Councillor Shoemaker, but yep, no, happy with that. Okay, so
I agree to
the
that.
mover and seconder, Councillor Potter, Councillor Shoemaker, happy with that change? Okay,
Yes.
no further conversation. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Questions on notice, 18.1, the capital expense report. Let me get to the page. There we go. The following question on notice was received by Councillor Shoemaker. Question was, is it possible to get a better understanding of page 10 from the capital expense report? Councillor Shoemaker, you no doubt would have read that. Are you happy with the response?
Yes, and I would very much like to thank Max from the finance team for walking me through it. It's certainly a lot more complicated calculation than I thought it would be in terms of the oh, sorry, no, I'm talking about the next one. No, I'm fully supportive of this one. We're talking about the loss of the disposal of assets. No, I'm on the right page. Sorry. Yeah, no, very much grateful to Max for her time in explaining that to me, and no, very much appreciate the report.
Thank you. No other conversation. Do you want to move that be accepted, Councillor? Yep. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Potter. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. We have nothing in 19, nothing in 20, and we now need to go to 20. Oh, sorry, we do. Confidential section, yes. So I'd like to move now that we move out of confidential, out of the general meeting into confidential and closed. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Henshin. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you.